How do we change? Well, we change a lot, whether it is our mood throughout the course of the day or as a whole entire person over the course of our lives growing and maturing. We are shaped by so many different ideas and structures, whether that's culture, religion, tradition, education, and family customs, all have to do with the way we become who we are. There's some biological and social factors that influence our personalities as well, and it really is interesting to see how people develop. And in the last couple of decades, the use of social media and technology has sparked a whole new way for young people to interact with each other. A lot of times, people don't even have to meet in person. They can just add someone on an app like Snapchat and other apps and start conversations right then and there. Now, technology has impacted the lives of so many people in both positive and negative ways. There's a lot of good, but there's also plenty of bad, and this is where parents need to understand the potential consequences of allowing their kids to have so much access to the whole entire internet. My family has had a major impact on my manners and the way I think ethically and morally. I've always considered my mom and dad to be two of the more respectful people that I've ever came across, and they always preach good manners from a young age. I really am thankful for having them as parents because they've raised me to be a free thinker and not rely on others to think for me. They've instilled so many values in me that I still think about today. The way you are raised through your childhood obviously has a lasting impact on who you are as a person, and there are so many variables that go into that. As I mentioned before, there is religion, culture, tradition, education, and more, but the main idea I want to talk about is technology. I've grown up in what I think is the biggest boom for technology that we as a society have ever experienced. Technology has been improving at a rate that we have never seen before, growing by 2 times every 18 months in speed and power. I still remember when the first iPhone came out when I was a kid. Neither of my parents got one for at least over a year, but when they did, it was unbelievable. I couldn't take my eyes off of it and was constantly asking them if I could use it or play games on it. I look back on this and I'm really glad that I'm not a child in today's world because they are even more spoiled with tech. When I was a child, around my elementary school years, it was still hard for me to get my hands on a smartphone or a tablet, whereas in today's world, there are third graders with iPhones. It does not seem right to constantly let kids stare at a screen all day. This is when we get into the ethical and moral standpoint of kids and tech, because it really does change who they are. One of my favorite examples is today's phrase, an iPad kid. An iPad kid is basically a kid that gets a tablet thrown in front of them as soon as their parents or caretaker is busy and cannot play with them. So rather than having them play outside or socialize with friends, they just get to sit in front of a screen and do whatever they want. This opens them up to social media, which usually has very few age restrictions and can lead to unhealthy habits and behaviors while also teaching disrespectful ideas. So are parents wrong in the sense that they rely on tablets to basically babysit their children? In my opinion, yes. Even before smartphones, computers, tablets, there were actually some of the same arguments being used about TV. So this has actually been a topic of discussion for some time now. Just in today's world, it is to a different extreme. I don't think it is ethically or morally right for kids to just have free will on these devices because it prevents them from so many basic communication skills in life. They are going to be so far behind in their development when it comes to making friends and basic decisions in a public setting. Rather than wanting to go out and play sports or find an actual hobby, they would rather just glue themselves to their screen and never socialize. While there are definitely positives to tech, like easier access to educational information, leading them to creativity, improved problem solving, etc., I think that parents need to prioritize teaching their children how to be responsible with tech and try to put restrictions on certain apps that can lead to inappropriate behavior. So while some parents may think that giving their kids some type of device isn't hurting them, I would say that they need to at least find a balance between device time and actual socializing with other kids. I look at this through a utilitarian lens. I think that there are clear consequences to giving your kid electronics at such a young age, so parents need to keep in mind what those possible consequences are and think of the greater good for their children. Whether that means to give them a limit on how much time a day they spend on devices or to just place them into socially interactive environments, the parents need to think about what is morally right for their children's futures. Then when the kids are older and to the point in high school where they are more technologically responsible, they can have free reign on their devices.